Hey, a couple new things actually before we start. The Discord's getting a complete makeover, just adding in a different bot, putting some more information from the wiki and my personal sort of well of knowledge, I suppose, into bot commands, just so there's less questions for me to answer and less I get less PMs because I get quite a few at the moment. Apart from that, I'm about to. I know Nick did it this morning, and that's cool. I don't really care too much. I'm about to start off a series on Endless Frontier as well. I'm a little bit further into the game than he was, and I'll probably be talking about it a little bit more in depth and min-maxing sort of aspects and how to get the most out of what you have. And I'll try and get that done after I finish this video. I also might do 2 GrowCastle videos this evening. I'm sort of feeling like it. I had a nap because I like naps. I don't have another reason for that, and I figured I'm feeling pretty decent, so I'll do a couple videos. This one's going to be on archers. This will be episode 3, 4. Yeah, I think episode 4. Alright. And basically we're going to run through what archers to use and why, and there's a little bit of math at the end, which you'll just have to take my word on as being accurate because I'm not putting anything on the screen. So let's start with the elf because it's the easiest. Basically what you want out of your elf, very strong hero, doesn't do much damage, but basically a necessity to the game at this point, especially if you're trying to kill a dragon that you can't easily kill, or you're doing infinite or skip waves. That's another big one. Now you might think, yeah, I run out of mana really quickly, I'm gonna go for the high elf and get mana, but you get the exact same amount of mana from deep elf. So why would you? You get extra health from the deep elf, you get the same amount of mana. There's absolutely no benefit to doing this. Now the items you want, and this is basically mandatory, no questions. You're gonna want +1 arrow. Even if you've got shitty affixes it doesn't use, such as lightning damage or crit chance, that's kind of shitty. +1 arrow effectively triples the damage of the elf. Now it doesn't hit. The way multi-shot works is 3 arrows are cast, or shot, or fired, or whatever the terminology is, and all 3 hit the same target. So if the target dies after the first one, yes, 2 arrows, or 66% of your potential is wasted, but that very rarely happens because of the amount of damage that deep elf actually does. Now mine is quite high, probably a lot higher than most of you, but I noticed dark elf. I was on the wrong promotion. I'm a dope. Anyway, I noticed dark elf really coming into its own around level 4000, which might still be a bit high for a lot of you, but it is much more achievable even at wave 4000, 5000 than you might think. You could do it in a couple days, most likely, depending on your gold build and efficiency and hours of play, obviously. But absolute necessity to get those +1 arrow items on it. If you can get damage percent +1 arrow, or if you already have that, then you are beyond lucky, and I envy you, because I have been crafting garbage and I just can't. I haven't got actually genuinely good items since I crafted this, which is basically perfect. But wizards will do another day. Now after that, Dark Elf is useful in every single build. You want at least 2 of your archers, and that would be Dark Ranger and Dark Elf in every build, regardless of what you do. Most of you should run 3, unless you have the appropriate items on the new Orc, or a high enough level Orc for a very specific 1% infinite build, which I'm not going to touch on too much today. But in that situation, you drop out Dark Hunter in place of the Orc, and that's the only situation you'd remove the Hunter. Now moving on to the Hunter, does no damage, even with his +2 passive multi-shot that they cooked into him in the latest update, still does no damage. He's, actually we'll see if I've still got, yeah. There we go. He's on par with the Dark Elf, except he doesn't give you life regen. And he seems effectively useless. But the haste active that he has, you can bring the cooldown right down and it buffs your town archers, which are sort of your like majority long-term safe damage that you're doing. It's constantly firing, it's constantly doing damage. There's no mana cost, there's no anything, it's just passive auto attack damage. And it's the only passive auto attack damage in the game that's actually good. And I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. Now, basically, because he does no damage and his speed doesn't matter, you want to buff the duration. He's a utility hero, you want the duration. 6.5 seconds is a lot better than 5 seconds. That's a lot more damage. That's an extra 200%. That's an extra 3 or 4 attacks on 1-time speed in that time that your town archers do. And if your town archers are even 1/10 of mine, that's quite a lot of damage. You times this number by 20 because you've got 20 town archers, and that is the amount of damage you're doing per roughly 1.5 seconds outside of haste or the bishop's attack. Now the items that you want on him, for most builds, you want quad cooldown. So obviously I don't have that on that, and I'll explain why my items aren't what I said they should be. Actually, what is that? In a second. Okay, basically you want quad cooldown just to get his active up as much as possible. You can get him down to about 12 seconds, 12.6 seconds I believe. And, you know, that's 50% of any run. You should have him, your town archers buffed, which is a lot of extra damage. Now the reason I have cooldown stun is because what I'm trying to do this new thing for Infinite, where he has a bit of cooldown to buff your town archers. He also has stun. What you need with 3-shot multi-shot for stunning him is 20%. You need 20% stun chance, and that equates to 100% stun of every mob hit. As long as you have +5. So I've only got +3 at the moment, which means 4 shots in total. I need 1 more before I can actually utilize that, but it's alright because I've swapped him out for Orc anyway. Now Dark Ranger is probably the most complex one, and also the best. Basically you need this hero. You need him in the middle, or her, I think it's a her. You want to buff her attack speed with the passive. It doesn't matter about the other 2 at all. Actually, we'll just touch on that so people understand. The passive that you get from Dark Ranger on Dark Elf means that quad damage will outweigh triple damage attack speed by a significant amount. So you don't want attack speed on it. even though typically on heroes that only auto attack, you're gonna want triple damage and attack speed because that will give you more damage per second than quad damage. Um, Now, yeah, you want Dark Ranger in the middle. Basically, this is your guy. This is the dude. This is the reason you can skip bosses and kill dragons. Lots of damage in the active. Some damage outside of the active. I'll talk about that in a second. But this is your skip wave Zerg the boss hero. This is your Zerg the dragon hero. This is in Infinite. This is shit, they're getting too close. Pop this and rapid fire all those flying cancers down. It's very good to invest in. I highly recommend maxing it to non-prestige, just level 9999 as soon as you possibly can. Prestige gets ridiculously expensive, as you can see here. One level is 211 million and 2 gems. You know, I think it's about 7 to 8 trillion in total to upgrade this. And to put that in perspective, I think my entire investment, my gold investment in all my heroes is about 12 trillion. So I'm not even close to having farmed long enough to prestige cap anything, which is why I've left him at 2000. Now the items you want on that are going to be quad damage, damage percent, flying damage can be good depending on what you're doing, but honestly I'd take a garbage third stat with quad damage over that any day. If you can get, if you can get the perfect item, use the perfect item, but it's pretty unlikely. I've probably crafted a lot more than the majority of my subscribers combined, and I don't have really anything good. This is pretty decent. You definitely want cooldown on him. You want to minimize that cooldown as much as you possibly can. Now in regard to this hero, the thing that I see most with the archer trio is people using Dark Bowmaster because he has a faster attack speed. Now, if you take away the passives from the Dark Elf and the Hunter, Dark Ranger has a base attack speed of 0.675 per second, and Dark Bowmaster has 2.0 per second attacks. So this is a little bit of math, so just stay with me. Say his damage is 1000 damage. Doesn't matter what level he's at, just say it's 1000 damage. Dark Ranger in 10 seconds would do 6750 damage, and Dark Bowmaster in 10 seconds will do 20,000 damage. Seems strong, but that's without actives. When you weigh in the actives, it changes significantly. Now, the active 7 seconds at 800%, that is 10 arrows per second for 7 seconds, and that comes out to, with 1000 base damage, that comes out to 560,000 damage in the 7 seconds. The 2 times speed one comes out, hang on, we'll bring it up so you can see. 5 seconds, alright? It comes out to around 400,000 damage. Now in a minute, this has a 17-second base cooldown, so that's what we'll work off. In 1 minute, you've got about 41% uptime on your active. So that's, I think, roughly 21 seconds. As I said, this is with the base cooldown of 17 seconds. Obviously, a few things weigh in on that. You might be using the waterfall thing. You might be using, white mage, which really gives you way more uptime on it, and that just exaggerates the gap between them. Alright, so in 1 minute or 60 seconds, Dark Ranger will do 1.68 million damage inactive and 26,325 damage outside of the active. That's auto attacks. And Dark Bowmaster will do 1.2 million damage in the active and 78,000 outside of the active. Which is a total of 1.7 million damage per minute compared to nearly 3 million damage per minute. You know, that's quite a significant difference. Now, apart from that math that, you know, empirically shows Dark Ranger to be a superior hero, auto attacks don't do anything really in this game. They're not at all useful. I mean, you wanna see useful auto attacks or how useful they are. Look at the Dark Elf. Look at the Hunter. You know, they don't do anything. Look at the Assassin with a lot of levels. They just don't. Okay, they don't fit any hero. The actives, the things with like 1,000% or 700% damage multiplier. That's where you're doing your damage. That's how you're killing mobs. You're killing mobs with actives. And especially in Infinite, you're gonna want the active up for each wave, and you're gonna need to use the Dark Ranger to have the long enough duration to sustain, but the high enough damage to quickly and efficiently kill those flying cancers that sometimes double spawn or triple spawn and make you want to cry yourself to sleep. So all in all, you hopefully have a better understanding of archers now. There shouldn't be any questions. I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. Basically, damage, flying damage, if you can get it on this. Cooldown damage is pretty much perfect. Double cooldown's also not too bad. You know, eventually you're going to need a much shorter cooldown on everything when you're getting to 100, 200, 300 billion infinite runs. Quad cooldown on Dark Hunter. And +1 arrows on Dark Elf. The other stats, obviously there's good stats and bad stats, but as long as you have the +1 arrows, you're pretty much golden. I'm not sure yet what the next video I'm going to be doing is, but it should be later tonight. I was thinking maybe towers. Maybe I'll talk about towers a little bit. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you next time.